What's up, lads? It's your boy Jono again. I had really weird experiences with randanouting. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of randanouting or randanouting, however you pronounce the thing. Essentially what it is you set up a random location, use this app called Randanouting something, I don't know, and it generates a random quantum number for you, and those numbers are actually coordinates. You then go to these coordinates. They shouldn't be too far from where you are currently, but it's just going to be a randomly generated quantum number for you to then go to. And apparently some people have had really weird experiences with randanouting. I'm not going to go into the whole thing about we live in the Matrix or we live in a simulation or some shit like that. I don't know too much about it. I don't know too much about that stuff. I know people have said, scientists have even said, that there's a high chance that we do live in a simulation. I don't buy it personally, but you believe what you want. You know, I believe that the universe is created, it has a purpose, that there is something, or some things rather, watching everything. But that's just as plausible as this being a simulation. So, you know, I'm not going to contend or anything, but what I will say is, my interpretation of the whole randanouting thing is your subconscious, which is connected to the divine being, is going to guide you. It's going to guide you to certain things, certain places, certain people, for you to learn from, for you to get information from, for you to better yourself and just find meaning in life. Okay, when you tap into that being energy, your life has meaning, has a lot of meaning. Everything you do has meaning. Jesus, you know, if the wind blows in a certain way, you're like, wow, that was done for me. You know, it's a bit of a confirmation bias, but who the fuck gives a shit? It helps. But I did randanouting a few days ago. Really funny what happened. It led me to a location which I'd never been to before, but I had been to it before, if you get me. So where it led me, the point where it landed was right at a gate which was locked. Okay, and in order to get past the gate, you'd have to be trespassing. But the point was the gate. Okay, so it wasn't that I had to go and trespass across the gate to see what the point was. The point was the actual gate itself, and the gate was locked, and it said no trespassing allowed. Violation of this will result in arrest or some shit. And I find that pretty bizarre. I found it pretty bizarre. I was looking at it, I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, why is it just the gate? Why isn't it even past the gate? You know, why is it just at the gate? And I was pretty bizarre. Now, what was behind the gate was actually a garden. You know, one of those private owned gardens where people can come and plant their shit and whatever. It was one of those. Now, what's funny is, every day I go into the forest, there's one of these gardens that are nearby. You can see them. They're right next to the bank. So I always pass one of these private owned gardens, and I always see them, and I've always wondered what it'd be like to actually go into one of them and to perhaps have your little, you know, little section that you've devoted to growing your own plants or something. So I've always been curious about it. I've always thought about what it was like to go inside and do it. So that's my little story about what the garden means to me. A place which I've always been considered to go in, but I've never gone into it. I've never just delved further. I've always just seen it from the outside, and that's the end of it. So what's really funny is the randanouting experience led me to a garden of a similar nature, but it led me to the door, which was locked, which said no trespassing. So I don't know, what meaning should I make out of that? My personal explanation is, I should never go into one, because the door's locked. Or my subconscious is telling me that I've subconsciously locked it away, that I don't want to go into it, even though maybe, perhaps, there's a greater journey waiting for me in that place. You know, in the place of a garden, in the place of one of these private allotted lands which you can plant your shit and whatever. Now, what's really funny is, I have considered becoming a, what do you call it? Jesus, the word's completely gone. I've considered basically buying some land in a forest or on some land, it doesn't really matter where, to be honest, and I wanted to make a homestead. That's it, I wanted to make a homestead. So I wanted to grow my own food, have my own little farm, you know, be a little bit self-sufficient, right? And in order to do that, I would have to become pretty skilled at permaculture. Not agriculture, but permaculture. And I don't know how to do that. I haven't read any books to do with permaculture. I haven't looked into it online. I've basically just put it as an idea in my head and I've left it there, and I'm not really looking into it anymore. But I do know that if I was to go into one of these gardens and learn how to do it, learn how to do the whole gardening thing, I would probably become very skilled and proficient at permaculture, which is, again, a goal of mine which I kind of wish to do in the future. So maybe my subconscious is really telling me to go into one of these places and to start my journey into permaculture, because perhaps that is where my path lies. I'm supposed to be a hermit who lives in the middle of nowhere, who plants his own food. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's my little Randanouting experience. The other funny thing is yesterday when I was trying to look at other videos of Randanouts, I couldn't find one video that was loading. Every Randanouting video I was on, which was directly uploaded by someone, so it wasn't like a compilation or a news report, it was the actual original video. None of them were loading. It'd go 10 seconds in and it would just stop loading. Every single one, mind you. So I found that pretty creepy. I was like, well, why is everything not loading? Again, I don't believe in the whole simulation theory, so I don't know what the fuck the reason is. Maybe my phone just wasn't working, but then every other video was loading fine. The internet was fine, you know, full connection. Every other video was loading at perfect speed, but these Randonout videos, specifically two of them, they weren't loading. It would go 10 seconds in and it would just stop. So fuck knows, man, some creepy shit's happening. Another creepy thing that happened was my housemates were watching some videos on their Xbox, and they were watching this particular video that was really funny. And a few minutes later, I got my phone out, went to YouTube, and one of the recommendations was the video that they were watching. That was fucking creepy. That was creepy. Oh, and another coincidence that happened was that my friend, he lost his cigarette. He lost his cigarette a few days back. And he was looking all over for it. He was looking underneath the couch. He was looking behind the crevices. You know, he was looking around. He was really trying to find it. He was like, where the fuck could it have gone? And I said to him, look, mate, these things, when they happen, when you lose shit, they always come back when you least expect them to. You're probably going to forget about it in a few days, then you're going to see it, you're going to find it. And guess what happened? I was literally sitting on the couch, and I just looked to the side for a few seconds, and I saw his cigarette in the sort of space between the cushion and the couch. And I was like, oh, Jack, is this your cigarette? Yeah, so there's been a few coincidences that have happened recently. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe the universe is trying to tell me that I'm on the right path, that I'm doing the right stuff, because these freaky coincidences are happening, and I don't really know how to explain it in any other way. So yeah, there's my experience with the Randanouting thing and these weird coincidinks, synchronicities as well, you could probably call them that in some way. But anyway, that's going to be it from me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, tell me your Randanouting experiences / synchronicities / coincidences or whatever. It'll be really nice to hear and share. You know, we've got to share, right? We're in a communist country now. The isolation, lockdown and all. So, comrades, let's get ready, get the red flag and let's share our information for the people.